Hi everyone, thank you so much for tuning in to this week's video. If this is your first time on my channel or your first time watching any of my videos, thank you for stopping by. I hope that you like the content enough and you like me enough to give the video a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. For those of you who are returning subscribers, thank you for coming back. I appreciate and love you guys so much, a lot more than you can even imagine. Today we are going to be talking about something that isn't necessarily the easiest thing to talk about, but I feel like now that the atmosphere is more relaxed and people are more at peace, it's New Year, it's that New Year energy, new month vibes. I feel like it's a good time to talk about it. It's a good time to have this conversation. I've got some wine here with me. I know I'm having white wine in a red wine glass, but don't judge me. When I went to the store, they were all sold out of the white wine glasses, so I only could pick up the red wine glasses. But yeah, I've got some wine with me. I hope that you can grab a glass as well, or grab your tea, whatever it is that you're into drinking. Just grab a glass, sit down, get cozy, and let's have this conversation. The reason I wanted to talk to you guys about the difference between being Nigerian in South Africa versus being Nigerian in Europe is because I have had it easy, right? I've had it easy in South Africa, and I thank God so much for it. My family has had it easy, but there are a lot of things that we experienced. There are a lot of things that we keep experiencing, and it's still happening. And I feel like it just needs to be brought to light. We just need to have a conversation about it and be open about it. If we talk about it, then you don't get to claim being ignorant because it's out there, it's been put out there. I'm gonna start with something that happened recently, right? That happened to my mom very recently, as in in the last couple of weeks recently. As in 2020 recently, okay. So my mom, she's a PhD holder, so it means that she's a doctor, and she lectures for a living. Most of her lecturing is done with DUT and UKZN. What's the not Westwood, something Wood, but the teaching campus. I didn't remember the name, but anyways, so she lectures with UKZN and DUT, and it's mostly accounting and finance stuff, which is where all my accounting and finance comes from, but yeah, so every year they apply for new lecturing roles depending on the classes that have availabilities, as in classes that need lecturers or teachers or whatever. And so she applied for a role. Actually, the reason she applied for this role is because someone else contacted her and was like, hey, we think you'd be really good for this role, I think you should apply, yada yada yada. And this person contacted my mom in December when my mom was in Nigeria, and my mom was like, okay, cool, she'll send in her CV, she'll apply for the job. She applied for the job, she bagged the job, and then she was waiting for these people to send her more information. This was for the PNB campus. So she was waiting for these people to send her more information. She tried to call them, they didn't pick up the phone, tried to text them, no one responded, email them, no one responded, and then she was like, well, what's going on? So she just left it. And then the person who had put the job up as an availability contacted my aunt being my mom's best friend as well, and she contacted my aunt and was like, hey, do you know any South African people who qualified for this position? We are looking for someone to fill in this post. This is the exact same post that my mom had applied for, and they had told her that you've got the job, right? My family, we're South African citizens. We've been naturalized and we're South African citizens. So I don't have a South African passport just yet. I'm still waiting to do my application, but the rest of my family, they have the South African passport. So they're citizens. And the one thing that I found out about when I was looking for a job at the start of last year, before I made the decision to move, was that a lot of the companies, especially in the banking sectors, a lot of the companies were looking for people who were South African citizens. So the recruiter I was using at the time even explicitly said to me, like, you know, your chances of getting the position with the banks is lower because you're not a South African citizen. I said to her, we're in the process of sorting out our South African citizenship. So once all of that happens and it's like finalized completely, then I'll let you know. And then she was like, okay, cool, awesome. And the reason that they do this is because they're looking for people who will add to the equity percentage for them. So anyways, yeah, so I know about this whole equity thing when it comes to like employing people, and like a lot of companies want to employ South Africans first before they look at people who are not South African, regardless of whether or not you're a permanent resident, which we were before we became citizens. And then yeah, so my thing with like the whole situation that happened with my mom was like, it had nothing to do with equity because my mom is a Black South African citizen, so she counts towards the equity that, you know, would have been the issue, like what the recruiter said to me when I was looking for a job. So it had absolutely nothing to do with that. It was just the fact that my mom was Nigerian and not like South African born. The whole thing is just so wild to me because like my experience here being in Europe, I'm not even a citizen, I'm not like a permanent resident or anything, but like my experience being in Europe is like has been so different. And there are a lot of like Nigerians living in England, there are a lot of Nigerians living in Dublin as well. So my experience of like being a Nigerian in Europe comes from having lived in London for 6 months in 2018 and having lived in Dublin for over 6 months now. So it's not like you know, I'm speaking out of my ass or something. But yeah, like the experience of being on this side of the world has been so different, where like people don't even care where you come from. You find that like in London and in Dublin, they're very metropolitan cities. Like the population is full of people who are not from Dublin, people who are not from London, people who are from Eastern European countries, from African countries, from like Asian countries and all that stuff. So like they have a diverse pool of people that live in their country, and like everybody gets treated the same. Like people don't place emphasis on where you come from as much as they do in South Africa, and I completely understand that in South Africa, like you have a lot of Nigerians that are not doing good things, that are like partaking in criminal activity and all that stuff. But like what really sucks is when they start painting every single person with the same brush, and it's like actually there are so many more Nigerians who are living in South Africa who are not criminals, who are contributing to the economy, who are like, you know, lawyers, engineers, chartered accountants, lecturers, like a whole bunch of things, you know. So like it really sucks to be painted with the same brush as the bad people. So I'm gonna come through with the receipts. Okay, very recently, as in like last week recently, I posted on a chartered accountants group on Facebook saying that the firm that I work for they have a lot of openings and they are hiring people. So, you know, contact me if you're interested in knowing more information about it. And you know, that's it. It was very short and simple and sweet post. And okay, looking back, I could have been more detailed in terms of like saying that, you know, these are the positions that are available, and I was like, yeah, like I've been here for like 7 months now, and I'm really happy where I am, because honestly, like the work environment in Durban was just very toxic. Like, and I'm not just speaking about where I was working. It was like across the board, the work environment was very toxic. My articles was very toxic, but we survived, we moved, you know. But yeah, it was really toxic. So when you move into an environment where things are like more relaxed, it's easier to appreciate it, right? So there are 2 comments, right, that stood out. I don't have a screenshot of the first comment because the person deleted their comment, but the first one was the person saying human trafficking, watch out guys. And then someone's response was like, it was someone defending me, and they were like, this is rude, like, you know, you shouldn't speak about things that you don't know about and stuff. And then another person's response was, oh, I just saw a Nigerian name, and you know, that was how they just assumed that it was human trafficking because the Nigerian name. Then the second comment, which I have a screenshot of, and I'm gonna put the screenshot on the screen, is basically the guy said, "Be careful, guys, seen this shit before." And then my friend responded, because she's also a CA. She responded and she was like, "What do you mean? I know her, and she really is in Dublin, and it's not a scam." And then someone else commented, and I don't think I know who this person is, but the person commented and it was like, "Firstly, your comment is rude and distasteful. There's ways of warning people, and this is not it." And yes, she does work at EY in Dublin, and she's a qualified CA. But like the first comment where the person was just like, "Oh, the reason people should watch out is because the reason that you think it's human trafficking is because it's a Nigerian name." I was just like, wow. And then my response to the whole thing was like, you know, I completely understand that things like human trafficking are real, but this is a professional page, and I was under the assumption that I would be dealing with professionals, and that's not looking like the case. There are so many resources at your disposal. Perhaps do some research, Google, LinkedIn, etc. before making comments. And as I said, if you're interested, message me. If not, that's okay too. So that's just like a very recent example of like the experience of being a Nigerian in South Africa. And now I'm going to touch on the whole like xenophobia thing, because personally I don't think that it's xenophobia. I think it's more tribalism than anything else, because if you look at the stats, like a lot of the people who were affected were not foreigners, they were not Nigerians, they were not your Congolese, they were not your other African nationals. And the reason again that I say it's tribalism, because you don't get white foreigners being affected by this, and I'm talking about white foreigners from like your Zimbabwe's, from your Namibia's, from like other African countries, and then also white foreigners that are from countries outside of Africa. Like, they don't get affected by the whole xenophobia thing. So how can you actually call it xenophobia when it's literally just targeted at Black people who are not of certain tribes? And I'm going to back this up by tweets from someone who is South African born. I just need to find the tweets, and I'm not going to say who it is because I feel like with the Facebook post, they were bold enough to comment on something that I said. So I feel like it's okay to actually put that out there because, you know, they said what they said. Whereas with the tweets, it was just a tweet or tweets that I came across, and it wasn't like something that was directed at me. It wasn't something that I was engaging in or anything like that. Okay, so the first tweet that was posted says, "Show's latest music video," as in Show Majozi's latest music video, also struck a chord. The way she was discouraged from wearing her Tonga attire in the beginning of her career because of the ridicule that awaits for her if she did. Then the response that I wanted to emphasize was someone saying that not being in Nguni isn't easy. Sometimes I'm anxious about speaking my language around them. And then she further went on to say, "I'm not even Songa or Venda and Pedi, which is a little more accepted, I think. But I still feel like an other in a lot of spaces in my own country. I'll never be fully able to articulate how terrible the experience is." Now, this is the experience of someone who is South African, who just isn't like from the major tribes or from like, you know, the more represented tribes, and it's like, this is how they feel. Now imagine how foreigners actually feel. If you can make people from your own country feel like they are othered, imagine how people who are not from your own country feel. And I just feel like it's 2020, you know, like it's easy to get caught up in like just saying things out of turn and, you know, just going for whatever it is that comes to your mind without actually thinking of the consequences of what you're saying and the impact of what you're saying. And sometimes it's just as easy as like Googling things. Like someone's response on my Facebook post was, "Where is Dublin?" You literally could have typed that exact same sentence in Google and gotten a response and then avoided putting that out there. And I completely understand, like, not everyone knows where every city is. Like if you ask me the capital of a lot of places that are well known, I wouldn't be able to tell you. If you tell me the name of a city that I know the city, I've heard of the city, I might not be able to tell you which country that city is in. And I just feel like Google is your friend. Utilize Google, do some research, like, you know, have something to back up what you're saying, and don't just like say things because you feel like, you know, you're justified, or not even justified, but you're entitled to say this thing because you have freedom of speech. Like, freedom of speech is great, but come on guys, like, just do a little bit of research, use the resources at your fingertips, and then go out and say things, so that you don't go out saying things and then end up looking stupid to everybody else because you've just said something that you could have easily like done a bit of research and avoided having to say, and then avoided having to look stupid. So yeah, guys, that's basically all I wanted to say. I just wanted to, like, you know, shed some light on the experience of living in South Africa as a foreigner versus like living here in Europe as a foreigner. It's like completely different. Now, with all of that being said, I'm just going to wrap this up by saying that I am super stoked to be a South African citizen. I'm glad that, you know, my parents made the decision to move there because it is a beautiful country, and I love that country, and I love a lot of its people and stuff like that. But yes, there are people who make it hard, who have made it hard, and if you're one of those people, then, you know, I feel like 2020 should be your year, like just doing better and being better. And yeah, that's that on that. That is it for this video. Thank you guys for tuning in. I love and appreciate you guys. Please do not forget to give the video a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. Cheers to the amazing week ahead. Actually, not just the amazing week ahead, the amazing month ahead. Okay, I am manifesting an amazing month and an amazing year, and I hope you are too. And if you're still here, then why not check out one of my previous videos that are going to pop up on the screen over here and join the family. I'll catch you guys in my next video. Bye.